Hi there and welcome back. This is a short video about a quite interesting resin kit of the past. It is, I think it's a copy, it's not the original Scale Coachworks kit made in America, That was indeed another kind of copy of the little garage kit from Japan. They made this car, despite inside my kit there was no decal at all. This was a kind of kit that I bought on eBay several years ago. There was a British guy that made probably some homemade production, quite low quality. I had the possibility to see the original Scale Coachworks at the time, and it was quite nicer than this one. This is what you are looking right now. It is a kind of temporary assembly that I just made with little point drops of super glue. And mostly because I had the possibility at the time to buy this type of kit, kind of bargain price, because it was arriving to me like a kind of spare box kit. It means that the seller originally didn't add the rubber tires. As you can see here, there is up there rubber tires, but they are not the one that they were originally meant to be on this kit. They indicate the extra rubber tires that should be coming from the Tamiya 935, probably the whale, the 935/78 whale made by Tamiya. Now all of that vintage Tamiya kit, they became quite of kind of collectible items, so it's not so easy to find them around, and I had a brilliant idea to buy the spare tires from B-Max Aoshima, the Nunu B-Max Aoshima, that company anyway, making today in plastic the K3 model in plastic. I already made a review on my channel about the K3 made by them, and it was an excellent model, so of course that is the best choice, to do nowadays a kit of this important racer of the 80s, late 70s. And so basically I ordered 4 extra tires. You see, don't consider the wrong mountings of all the part, because as I say, this is just temporary stuff, just to show. It's probably just to move better the model instead of having everything in small bags and little bags. I prefer to have it in a single brick. That is extremely easy. I mean, if I smash the kit a little here, it's already falling apart, because nothing is fixed, but it was just to give it a kind of initial position of all the parts of the model. The resin is not so bad, it's neither so good. There is some it was basically an exact copy, a trial of to get an exact copy of the original kits. Already at the time they were quite thick in the resin mold. We are miles and miles far away from what I would like to work with the modern quality stuff, made extremely thin. So this was extremely fat, extremely huge parts made in resin, and in some points also you miss, that's why I think it's something homemade, you miss that line over the final part of the side skirt. This is completely unmolded, so that's why probably it comes also quite cheap around. And when you had this guy selling this stuff, I remember the name was Ant Hill, something like that, on British UK, the magical of the British UK before they made the Brexit and so on, so it was still possible to buy without any major problems. It was that you constantly find some modeling stuff that was very, very badly interesting, because the land of the modern modeling, in my opinion, is absolutely the UK, of course Italy and Japan, so everything is coming from those countries. So when you get something from that, you see that anyway the overall look of the model is quite taken. Also the final setup of the K3 is not so mistaken. There is not so much to do. This is just, as I say, the temporary build, and it's quite interesting because they provided inside this. I probably asked the guy at the time, because he was making a very few items of this. He copied this 935, then he made the Porsche GT1 998, so the Evo version of the Porsche GT1, copying the modeler kit. And they also copied at the time the UMI model Porsche 966, that wonderful subject that I made in the Jägermeister library, And so those were basically what they made at the time. We're talking of the about 15 to 20 years ago, I think I took this stuff, and nowadays I didn't see this stuff any longer, and also there is nearly no meaning to search for them any longer, because if you have a plastic kit, is of course better, and the final result is anyway more decent than what you can get here, you know. But I like anyway this kind of big bricks in resin, you know. As I said already at the time, I tried to collect the decals to finish this like an Apple car, this car, and I was quite lucky, you know, to get in close with the modern social media to the guy making the original decals for the Scale Coachwork, Dan Jensen, a very kindly guy and extremely skilled modeler, you know. And he was so able to provide me the original decal sheet of this model. I tried to work with the Patos Place decal, but probably they are made for slot racing purposes, and in the moment I remember that I finished the model completely with the Apple decal over that were a copy surely of the original Scale Coachworks decal too, but the quality was not cartograph decal, so it was kind of rubbish. Sorry, rubbish. Yes, for me it was also rubbish, but some kind of rubber stuff, you know, rubber rubbish. And I remember that I had a problem with the Patos decals in the moment that I had to apply over the gloss, you know. Then later other guys in quite aggressive way told me, you don't have to apply the glossy over. So what do? I made a model that with the softeners on remain flat over the model of a car that was perfectly glossy, so no way. So for me that was the final crossover Patos Place decals, you know. I had some of them, will try to sell if they, so there is some people out there that like to work with such stuff, but I will not go any longer with that. So I'm so happy that for this type of model I have the proper Apple car decals, and it will be cool to place this one together with the Chloe Apple car based on the 964 RWB cars to have Apple car, despite I don't have an Apple any longer, you know, poor guy here just working with Android. So that's it. The model is now complete in all its parts, you know. I'm happy that I also have some spares part of the vacuum form sheets. Remember that if you see closely at the central part of the cockpit, this was surely a model that in some way is related to the original Tamiya 935 kit, because the smaller side of the windshield is quite larger than the ordinary 911 kit, so it's slightly different from the others. But I think anyway the shape is taken, and this is the more than ever a decent replica after you spend probably some decades in cleaning completely the resin part, and not, I think, for the original stuff, just because this is, as I said in the beginning of this video, a copy of the original stuff. That's it. Not worth it to search for any longer. If you have this model collected in your stash, simply go for it and build it up. I already started to plan something, you know, for the rear wing. I prepared something made in aluminum here and already primered in white, so they are ready to be place it over there. And I remember that also that main wing, you see it's already slightly folded, and I have to work a little more to keep it straight, probably placing some bones inside, maybe in metal, to keep it even more straight and precise in the final look, you know. There is no photo etched set, as there were probably no photo etched set in the original kit. As I say, remember that this is stuff coming badly from the past, so this was a copy made 20 years ago of something that have been made at least 25, if not 30 years before. There is a lot of ugly bubbles in the edge part, something that have to be absolutely corrected. The same here, the same over the vent, so it's not a great quality copy, you know, and I have it, and I will anyway try to work with it. Today's for me it's quite simple to work with it. Little notice, you see they provide a kind of copy of the seat coming from the 935 from Tamiya. If you have any decent donor like that is from Revel, they provide already a couple of seats. That is the purpose why I mounted both of them, because I want to keep both of them and use one for this model to increase a little the detail, you know. There is not so much that you can see the end, because the car, at least many of the cars I remember that I already made of the same company, the Jägermeister vehicle, that had some issues, you know, in the quality of the resin. Basically I did it just in the moment when I took the item, because I was so excited to finally make a K3 that nobody had in scale at the time. Now I see so many steps that I would make absolutely different probably in this other model, if I will ever have the time to build it up in the proper way. So that's it, guys. Enjoy the model and collectible items, you know, old but Steel making is absolutely is figure. Thanks for watching. See you in the next.